As long as you know exactly what you want to do, it is possible. It is possible.
Hello world, wake me up to another good morning, time to go. Oh, we are all looking for adventure. We are all looking for...
Hi, Bernadette. Thank you so much for joining us today. It has been such a long time coming. How are you?
I'm all good. Oh, I'm so good. It's just been a long journey, but you know what? At the end of this whole long dark tunnel, there are lights that shine so bright. And yeah, it's been an emotional roller coaster, but yeah.
It has been, I want to say years. Surely it's been years. Hey, how long have we been? Because well, you've been following me. I've been almost like following you because of your journey, talking online to us for such a long time.
Yeah.
When did you start thinking about coming to Australia?
Everything started in 2018, 5 years back. I did have a wedding to attend, my mom's sister in Victoria. And I just started a new job with the company back in sales. I resigned from my previous company when the little one was born in 2016 after a year. Long reasons why I left that company, but joined the company and then decided that, okay, I'm going to put a focus on 2018 for October to make my way to Australia to attend this wedding. Eventually got here in October. It was a 2-week holiday. I could have extended it, but due to the kids' husband work, leave, etc., I just had to do 2 weeks, which was kind of costly, but it was okay. Nevertheless, I landed, got picked up at the airport, and driving home, I could have been an hour from the airport. I said to my auntie's husband-to-be or husband now, I'm like, stop the car. And he's like, why? What happened? And I'm like, no, this is not normal life. You know, I just enjoy what I'm seeing. And I saw little kids walking to school, you know, some attended, some unattended. There were no burglar guards, no gates, no security, should I say, in this little town that they live in Pakenham. And that just amazed me. You know, I was like, I'm coming back. Anyway, long story, short story, we fast forward right down to the wedding and then it's time to go home. So it was 3 of us that joined from South Africa, my mom's sister, myself and my cousin, and we went back home. My husband picked me up at the airport and I did have a work function that same week. My feet were swollen and he's like, you got to go. And I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. He says, you have to go. And anyway, I attended the work function and that was it. And then I got to go back to work 9 days late, like my holiday, because it was like one of my goals and dreams on my goal list for the company. And joining the company within a year, I was the first employee to actually do an international trip in a short space of time. So it was like mind-blowing for everybody, and it was more motivating that it is possible. Anyway, that went all good, and we got home, and my husband's like, how is it? And I'm like, we got to go back to Australia. And he's like, really? You go for 2 weeks and you come back and you want to move? And I'm like, yes, I'd like to move. Nevertheless, my aunt's husband, now he arranged a job for my husband back in 2018, got the agent on board, got the company on board. Husband accepted, well, didn't physically accept the job offer, but went through the pinpoints and the little fine details. And then about 3 months later, I get an email and a message from the agent, and he's like, your husband has blocked me on every channel possible. Is there a problem? Not realizing that he's been going through his own little emotions, and I think it finally hit home that, hey, I'm not going, you know. So that was 2018. It was a very emotional one for me, because 1 minute you're going, next minute you're not going, and I just had to pick up with life and continue. You know, like nothing happened. But to me, it was just a scar for me that you could accept something and then 2 minutes or a few weeks later say, I'm not doing this. There was no conversation. There was no discussing. There was absolutely no what would you say? He didn't give me any sign that you don't want to continue. He just blocked the agent off completely. But yeah, life went on. 2018 was a very rocky part for us. And when he watches it, he'll understand it was absolutely rocky. But you know what? You got to pick your head up and continue with life. What do? Do you leave your husband and your 3 kids and go on a venture alone? But nevertheless, yeah, 2019, our boy left at 18 to Australia. He's here currently now it's going to be 4 years in December. And life went on. It was hectic in SA. You come from there, it's just getting worse each day. And my mind was still, you know, as much as you got to look forward because you got to fight for survival back in SA, my mind was still, I want to go where I went on a holiday, you know. It was at the back of my mind, but it was just vague. It was there. And I just watch people post, and I'll watch your shows and your Facebook pages. And I always said to myself that I'm going to be there, you know. And 2019, our son left. 2020, COVID broke through. My husband was off work for a good couple of months. I had COVID, severe COVID, I would say. We got through that 2020 patch, and then January 2021, I'm not sure what had happened. I can't tell you what had happened, but he just comes to me and he's like, "We immigrating." And I'm like, "Wow, what happened to you?" And then he says to me, "Yes, we're going." So I'm like, "Okay, nice. I'm happy to know we're going, but how would we get there, you know?" And that happened over a couple of months, and I'm like, we've got a home that's paid off. We've got a car, 2 cars that are not owned by the bank. Gratefully, we were actually grateful for that part. But how are we going to do this? Because back in SA, we had 2 jobs, we had 2 salaries coming in, but there were times where you would fall short in actually making payments. So going to the bank to get a loan was, there was just no way we could actually do this, you know. And he comes in and he says, "Okay, well, I'm leaving my job." And I'm like, "Okay, you're leaving your job, and then what happens? Because you're the sole breadwinner here. Whatever I do on the side comes in, it's additional, but you've got to fix, you know, we've got rates, lights, water, we've got school fees, we've got food, we've got the basics that we need to do." Thank God we didn't have a bond to pay because the house was freed in 2017. He says, "No, I'm leaving work." Okay, fine. You can leave work. I continue doing what I'm doing. I was working back home for the same insurance company, and I was working online at home. So nevertheless, okay, you're going to leave work. Now I'm sitting and I'm thinking, okay, I don't work for a basic salary. I'm working for pure commission. I was doing short-term insurance sales for the government workers, which was a good thing because as soon as I concluded or ended the call, they would give me a PASAL number. This PASAL number would be like a direct debit from their bank account. So there was no stopping banks or reversing debits. It just came straight out of their pay slip. So I'm like, okay, you resigning, I got to keep my head above the water, and I got to ensure that I'm going to make the same amount of money that you brought in each month or something closest. So yeah, that went on, and he handed in his resignation, and his boss didn't want to accept it. But it went on like that. He's at home, I'm working, some good months, some bad months, lots of bad months, and we just kept on going. Eventually got his resume sorted, put it out there, and a company contacted him and said, "Okay, we would like to do an online interview."
You got to tell me first, what is his occupation?
Okay. He's actually a boilermaker by trade. Okay, so he did come up on a 494 visa as a metal fabricator, you know, because it was on the list. Yes. So yes, so he got in contact, well, the agent got in contact with him, and whatever happened, And the day or the evening of the interview with the company that he's currently with, they said they will call him at 11 p.m. our time in South Africa because of the 8-hour or 9-hour difference. And funny enough, that evening we had a huge storm, but we also had load shedding. So with load shedding goes no signal, and it's very difficult. But you know what? He did the interview online. In the dark, I'm sitting with him in the bedroom and he's doing the interview, and I could hear the boss at the back, but they connected very well, you know. And about 2 days later, we got an email from the agent, and she's like, wow, congratulations, your husband has secured the job offer. I'm going to send through a contract, have a look at the salary, and let me know from there. Anyway, I put down the phone or closed the email, and I looked at it and I said to him, you know what, whatever it is, it's okay. We're going to take anything. And he said, yes, we'll take anything. And looking at the salary back home, if you do a conversion, it's a lot of money. But when you're here paying out the dollars, it's basically the minimum salary like we would have back in SA, you know. But nevertheless, he signed the contract, and we said, okay, we're going to go forward with this. And in the interim, he's not working, I am. So we did what we needed to do, got through the assessment, got through the English test for him. There was quite a few pointers that needed to be done, but it was done. And then in July 2021, I had to leave the company that I was with, not because I was forced to, but there was some sort of, it wasn't fair, like there was no fair work. How would I put this? There was stuff that was happening in there that I couldn't work, or I just would not accept it because I needed to work, if that makes sense, you know.
It's not a good workspace.
Yes, so 2 days I was at home. I cried myself, like I couldn't understand that the stuff that I actually spoke to my team leader or manager, like confidentially, she just blurted everything out. So when they did call me in the boardroom, it was like 5 people on top of me, and I just did not feel easy, but I knew that I gotta wipe my tears and go back to that office, because this is the commitment that I've made to the family, that I will do what I need to do because my husband has actually officially resigned. So yeah, that went on, and 2 days I was at home, and on the second day I got up and I'm like, you can do this. Get up, go to work, shower, get yourself sorted, and just go and face that. Whatever happens, let it be. And my husband's like, no, you're not leaving. Open up your laptop, draft your email, your resignation, goodbye, we're done. This was, I think, at the end of July 2021. And I'm like, but somebody's got to work. And he's like, you know what, something's going to happen, and it's going to happen the right way. Nevertheless, I handed in the resignation and I did not return back to work. And
So you were both at home then?
Hey?
So you were both then at home?
We were both at home. We were both at home. Kids still at school, still got school fees, still got activities, still have expenses. We have a lot of stuff to do, but you know what? It has to be done. But as I said, he did resign. That little bit of a pension provident fund that he had, we were utilizing it for the trip. And before he resigned, we sat with the package, and I'm like, okay, let me do some homework, find out more or less approximately what would it cost us, and would that cover the cost? And yes, it did cover the cost. There was a bit of change left that I could play with, you know, yeah, everywhere, but money doesn't last forever, you know. You're pulling it out of the pool, and if you're not putting it back in, you're gonna have problems. Yeah. But yeah, he started the assessment, got that done, got his positive results in January 2022. Went in and had to do his English test, and everybody said like, you'll make it, it's okay. And I'm like, you know what, guys, we speak English, that is our main language at home, but actually listening and speaking to Australians in an English test is very difficult, speaking to a microphone. And he did his English 3 times because he didn't get the desired results. And when I say 3 times, Yeah.
IELTS or PTE?
PTE. So he did the PTE, didn't get the desired results on the third one, and it's costing us because it's like 5,000 Rand a time. And he got up and he said to me, you know what? I'm not doing the English test anymore.
Uh-oh.
I had to be there to motivate you, to guide you to, although I'm grinding my teeth, I got to do this because we've come so far with the skills assessment. You've got a positive result. That was, if I do a conversion here now, it's like $4,500, like 45,000 back home. I'm just
A
giving you
lot of
that. Yeah. Like, you can't do this. You've given up your career. He builds. If you look at the work he's currently doing now, he builds trucks and trailers from scratch, you know. This is his livelihood. This is what you've given up after 22 years for your 19-year-old son to say, hey, Dad, you decide. You use this, use it or don't use it. You decide, but this is the advice I'm giving you. And for you to give up this job and look back and say, hey, I'm not doing this now. I can't make the English. Anyway, I managed to motivate him and persuade him. And I think he also sat in his little corner and he thought, okay, I got to do it. And we booked for the 4th time. You know, he found it embarrassing, but you know what? We had to go through this little journey.
So did you prepare differently for the 4th one?
I prepared with him, you know, I sat with him. We had the laptop open on the first one, and there were kind of like links that we could go into for free courses or just little tests, you know, just to familiarize yourself with the whole PTE. And like, I think the first PTE, he just missed it by 2 points. And then the second in another department, another 2, you know. He was making it in 3 different sectors, but 1. Every time it was just 1. And on the 4th time, I said to him, you know what? Go in there and ask them, can you remove your mask? Because they wanted masks for COVID. Can you take the mask off? Because when you're speaking to the microphone, they'll be able to hear you. Anyway, we drove together. We get to Gateway and Planga and we do the test. And it was okay. And then it's time to get home now to open the email because the results are back. And I'm like, wow, you've done it. Congratulations.
Oh,
so that 4 PTEs down. Yes. I finally believe because I think it was the speaking part of it with the mask on each occasion. And I said to him, no, just take the mask off. There's 3 of you guys in the room. Ask them, can you take it off? And they said, yes, he took it off and he made it.
Wow.
So we got that email.
You celebrated that night.
I can't, you know, to be honest with you, I can't even remember if we celebrated because it was so hectic, you know. It was a long journey. I mean, you got 2 unemployed people at home. You've got 2 kids in school that need you. You've got a 19-year-old son that's in a foreign country that needs you. Where do these finances come from? What do you do? But we did what we needed to do. On the 2nd of August, he gets a call from his ex-company and they said to him, we need your help. Have you immigrated? And he's like, no, I haven't. We need your help. This was 2021, a few months after he resigned. And we've got a project for you, but it's going to be night shift. Can you take it on? So while he's on the call with the boss, I'm like, yeah, take it on, but don't ask for a 30-day pay, like you're going to get paid monthly. Can you please get paid weekly? And he asked for it and they gave it to him, but they gave him double his salary on a weekly base, which was like a bonus for us because it came in the brink of time. Remember, end of July, no work, no finances. What's going on? We don't know, but we got to keep going. So he started and we really broke our budget down to the least, you know, we sacrificed so much. The kids eventually asked like, how come we don't do this? And how come we don't do that? And like, hey, we're going to Australia. When are we leaving? We're not sure, but we are going, you know. So I had to be the mum, the nurse, the comforter, everything in one, besides dealing with my own little inner feelings. He worked night shift.
Right at this point in time, because he had now finished the English, you had the positive skills assessment.
He had that. His finances had come through from his company. It took about 3 or 4 months to come through. And the little bit of debt that we had in SA, we ensured that we had to make arrangements to have it paid up officially. And he had the skills assessment, the English was done.
The job offer was there.
Job offer was there, everything was signed, sealed in the bag. Now it's time for the agent to put the visa through. So she calls me, she says, right, we're ready to submit after all the paperwork. Every day it's just paperwork that they requested and SARS and tax, and it was a whole, you understand what I'm saying. So yeah, she submitted the visa on the 3rd of May 2022. And in the interim, she did contact me and said, okay, we're going to try and get your hubby out on a temp visa. I'm going to include you and the kids, but you won't be able to get X, Y, and Z on that visa. Would it be okay? And I'm like, you know what, do whatever, we want to leave now. But in the interim, like in the 2 years, I had their suitcases packed, winter clothes in, summer clothes out, summer clothes in, winter clothes out. We moved like that. But she submitted and we got a result. Well, the first 400 visa was declined. And like our world was shattered. Like, okay.
Why did they decline it?
The decline for the 400 visa is that it's a temp visa, and they sent an email back, migration sent an email back stating that it looks like we're not planning on coming back to SA.
Well, yeah. Yes, we want to move to Australia.
Okay, that was fine. Went on, she submitted the 494 visa, made the payment, that was sorted. Now we're sitting and we're waiting. Then she says the company really needs your husband. It's going on to like 2 years since he signed the job offer. We are going to do another 400 just for him. So life went on. I said, okay, that's fine. Second 400 visa declined. Wow. Shocker. What is the reasons? I have no idea.
But you had submitted the 494 as well by this time, or not?
Yes, it was submitted by then.
It's most probably the same reason, because you submitted the 494, which says, I want to come and live in Australia.
Yeah. But remember, the second 400 visa, okay, the 2 400 visas the company paid for, because I always said to the agent that I'm not paying anything extra. If you guys are going to subsidize it, I have no issue. You can do what you guys need to do, as long as the main visa is in process now that we had to pay for. So, yeah, the 400 was declined the second, and we decided to go to Cape Town. We went on a little holiday with some family. Then we took the kids to Johannesburg in November. And she phones me in Johannesburg and she's like, Martin is doing the 400 for the 3rd time. I'm like, really? Okay. So you do what you need to do. Please, can you go and do biometrics? And I'm like, can I mention her name, Simone? This is going to cost us another 3,000 Rand in SA. I don't have that kind of money, but nevertheless, I'll find a way and we'll do it. You're the agent. I think you know better than me. So we did the biometrics, processed it. The third 400 visa comes back declined in December. So I didn't break the news to my husband. I said, you know what, I'm not going to dampen his spirits anymore, just let it be. Whatever happens, happens. Then that was December 2022. January 2023, she calls me and she says, Bernadette, they have requested some documents because your police clearance has expired. You need to do a new one. Okay, Simone. And they also do request that you do an English test. So I said, I was upset because when you're saying these things we need to do, You could have said it a year ago when there was kind of funds to do these things. And I asked the question, like, why do I need to do an English test? Because when I submitted, I just have my 5 years in high school matriculated in SA. You said it was okay. And there's a word that they use, but I didn't need to do the English. January 2023, you're calling me to do an English test. Anyway, she says here, that's what immigration is looking at, and that's the S56. They're giving you 28 days to do this. So I get off the call and I'm panicking because I'm a bag of nerves at this point. The 494 is put through, 28 days to do this, no money in the bank. What goes on? Nevertheless, to get a police clearance back in SA, trust me, it's a process. It's 120 Rand basically to do it. But to get somebody for a company to go in and actually do this for you in a speed of time costed like 5,000 Rand to do it. And then another English test at 5,000. So I'm saying, where do I get 10,000 Rand from within this time? But you know what, as I said, the faith that I held on to, I eventually did what I need to do, and we did it. I got the English test, went in, submitted a book for the PTE, did the police clearance, got the company to do it, got the date for my PTE about a week and a half later. Husband sat with me and he tutored me. Thank God for him, because I did the same for him 4 times prior. Did the PTE test, came out.
He would have enjoyed that at this time. He's like, Bernadette, come on, you can do it. I had to you can do it.
Well, he was like that, and he got a bit aggressive at times, because he's like, I will leave you in the room with the laptop and you just study. I will do the laundry. I will do the cleaning. I will do the cooking. I will do everything. And then he comes into the bedroom the one Saturday afternoon and he finds me sleeping. And he's like, really? I'm leaving here for like a full 6 or 7 hours and you sleeping? You've got a test on Monday? I'm like, I'll do it. Don't stress. I'll do it. I did the test on the Monday morning. He drove me there, sat in the car for 3 hours. I did it. Came out. He says, how did it go? I'm like, I think it went okay, but I didn't make 2 questions. For the timing, I didn't make it. Anyway, it was okay. I said it is what it is. By this time, I got to a point in my life that, you know what, immigration is going to be behind me, and whatever happens is going to happen now. Got the company to do the police the police clearance came through on the 27th day of the 28 days that we needed.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, paid that to her and I expected it in a couple of days. Came on the 27th day on that time, and I emailed it to the agent. And then a day after I did the English, I got the email for my results, and I screamed for my husband. I'm like, hey, you come and open the email. I was terrified to open this email to get the results. And at the time I called for him, he was at the gate speaking to a neighbor. And he didn't hear me, so I put the stove off and I was cooking at the time. And I said, you know what? It is what it is. I will open this email. And I sat down and I opened the email. When I saw the desired result that I got, I started screaming. I'm like, oh, my head. So I ran outside and I'm like, I've got the results. I made it on the first time. And he's like, well done.
Oh, wow.
You know, and it was just such an exciting time. But you know what? At the end of it all, life still had to go on. So we got what we needed for the immigrations officer, the S56 within the 28 days, and that was it. Then I get another request from the agent, and they also requested S56 documents. In 2010, my husband had a drinking and driving fine, if I would say this. And we did declare it on all the paperwork that we needed to do before I progressed, and we paid that 100 and some odd thousands for the visa. And I said to her, what are the chances? And she said, because he hasn't been convicted, yes, there's no issues. That was 2010. So all we needed to do was like go back to the police station or to the court and ask them for paperwork. Wow, 13 years later, where do you find this in SA? But you know what? We found it. It all came in the 28 days, submitted.
Wow.
And then we're sitting and we're waiting, but life is going on. Kids are growing, kids have demands, bills are piling. It's got to go. So after January 2023, this year, in the back of my mind as a mother, I said, you know what? We've given up so much. If we're going to lose, we're going to lose. But I just need to start my life again. And I said to my husband, you continue what you're doing, because he did part-time work at home. He had like private jobs, and he just come in at the time where money was needed to be paid out, you know. And he continued, and I said, I'm going out to find work. So I sent my resumes out, and with the company that I was with previously for the 4 years from 2017, I gained a lot of experience in short-term insurance sales, and I just put my resume out, and a company in Umhlanga, which is about 45 minutes drive from home, called me for an interview. I went in, and then I got the position. And I'm like, wow, I got a job, you know, I'm starting work.
Wow.
The company hours were crazy. It was 4 p.m. till 2 a.m. Reason for that is that I was working with UK clients, so I had to work in the UK time. My husband says, are you sure you're going to be able to do this? Because you're going to be traveling that part of the morning alone. And I'm like, you know, I got to do what I got to do. But I'm not telling him why I'm doing this, because I knew that if we don't get a visa after all the declines of the 400 and everything that needed to be done, I got to ensure that I start my life again indirectly, but without the kids and him knowing this. And I went into the company. I was on a week's training with them. And then I managed to build a club, a travel club. I had 2 other guys with me, so lived in the same area as me. So it was okay. I had people traveling with me, because that traveling from home to the company itself with the hijackings, it's not safe to travel at night, basically. So I had these 2 guys with me. We did our training, all went well. And on the Sunday, the first week, I was on the training, like I just excelled, you know, like the managers and the team leaders, and they're like, where do you get this from? Like, what is going on? Like you are doing amazing. Now it's time for you to leave the training group and go into the incubator. An incubator is like on the company shop floor with all the different campaigns that they're busy with. You'll be there, but you're going to liaise now directly with the customers. You're going to go on live calling. And I did that for a week, and I made lots of incentives, lots of alcohol incentives. Like I just turned back and my desk was full of alcohol, because I was making the targets in those few minutes as we were going through the work company time.
Wow.
And I enjoyed it, because I was actually doing Medicare for the UK. And, you know, when I sit back and I think about this now, it really amazes me that God itself had prepared my path in this, you know, in this whole journey. I was with the company for the 2nd week, Monday to Friday. And on the Sunday, the 2 guys contacted me. The one lady says, hey, I'm not going back. It's too stressful for me. And the second guy messaged me and said, listen, I didn't make the training, so I won't get a contract. And I'm like, to my husband, where is this going to leave me now? Back to square one, traveling alone? But I got kind of used to the traveling for the 2 weeks, you know. And I said to my husband, you know what? I'm going to go. I'm going to continue going. You know, it was hard, because I'd get home at about 3 a.m. in the morning, and try and keep myself up till about 7, so I could at least be with the kids, like the 2 girls, get them ready, and then hubby drops them off. And He was like, no, you sleep, I'll sort them out. But we missed each other because when I leave for work, they were on their way to school, coming home from school, and we just missed each other. So I would try like 2 days in that week just to keep my eyes open till they're up, get them ready, pack their lunches, kiss them goodbye, and let them go on their journey, you know. And the 2 weeks I was with the company, the weekends were tiring. All I did was sleep because I was trying to adjust now to that day and night shift.
Yes.
And then on the Sunday, I get messages that these guys are not coming back. And I'm saying to my husband, you know what? I've decided that I'm starting my life again in SA. So I'm going. I'm doing exceptionally well. I'm happy. Basic salary was amazing. Commission structure was amazing. It was just the hours, but I was happy. Sunday evening, prepared myself, my mind mentally that I'm going back. And that was okay. Monday morning, I got up, got the kids ready. Husband says, okay, are you coming with to drop them? Because you need to sleep, be working at, you leaving home at 2 for work? I'm like, nah, I'll stay up a little bit. And he took them to school. 2 minutes to 7, I'm listening to East Coast Radio. It's one of our South African channels, you know, the radio stations. I'm listening to it and I look at my mobile phone and it's ringing and I see my agent's name. And in my mind, I'm saying to her, what do you want? Because I don't have any more money for you. Anyway, I didn't take the first call. Second call, she phoned directly after the first one cut. And I'm saying, Simone, now speaking to myself, Simone, I do not have any cash for you. Do what you need to do. And I left the call for the second time. And she persisted. She phoned the third time. And I'm, hi, Simone, how can I help you? I don't have any cash for you. And she started screaming on the phone and she's like, Bernadette, the visas are through. The visas are being processed, like yours, your husband's, your 2 kids, one after the other. They were just being approved. I didn't know what to say to her.
Oh.
She said, Bernadette, I'm driving now to drop my kids or pick them up. I'll call you. And I ended the call and I sat on this couch and I'm saying, oh my hat, this was on the 6th of March, 2023. What do I do? Who do I phone? Do I say anything? What? I was confused, you know, I was so confused.
You probably thought, is this real? Because it's been so surreal, the whole journey.
It was a hectic journey. It came at a time that I didn't expect it. And it took my husband about 15 minutes to get back. And I'm like, he walked in. Do you want some coffee? No, I'm okay. Do you want good news or bad news first? What are you on about, Bernie? Can you please speak? I've got the rest of the day to start now. Do you want the good news or do you want the bad news first? He said, okay, give me the bad news. I'm like, well, the bad news is because I don't have guys to travel with to the company, I'm not going back to work. He's like, but you are doing so well. Yes, I've decided in this time I'm not going back. I can't do it. I'm terrified. I'm scared. I'm not going back. Okay, and what is the good news? Oh, well, the good news is that the visa's approved. So I don't think he heard me. He definitely didn't hear me. And he looked at me and I said, the visas are approved. We're ready to leave for Oz. Oh, my head. That was a celebration in the morning on its own. So, yeah, that was the journey. And my parents live on our property. We've built, or they've built a granny flat. And I didn't even know in that time I started going to tell them because everybody knew that we're leaving. Many were happy and many were not happy. And I only realized that when we landed here, on this long roller coaster journey, you make friends, you lose friends, you make family, and you lose lots of family. My mom took it bad, but she knew that we're leaving. In the interim, my husband's mom passed on last year, June. So there were many reasons why there were such a long wait, you know, and I had to sit with them and say, there was a reason why the visas have all been declined, like your 400, because you've lost your mom, you know, it's giving you time. You were here for her in the last days, and that's what happened. So I said, what is the next step? And because we knew we were leaving from the first day of him resigning in 2021, I said to him, as soon as the visa comes through, we are booking tickets and we are leaving. And the day came, the visa came through. Now it's time to book those tickets. And to be honest with you, finances were very low. The only thing we had left was my car that needed to be sold. And I kept on getting companies in coming home just to give me an average or more or less what they would pay. And a year later, I contact the same company. I'm like, hi, I need to sell my car. He said, are you ready to leave? I'm like, yeah, as soon as I sell my car. So we got the company in. They gave me an assessment on the vehicle. And wow, covered our tickets.
Wow.
So I said to my husband, they're going to take the car. We gave it a good clean up, said our goodbyes, and sold the car, money transferred directly in the bank account. Now we're looking for flights. We found flights for the 15th of March, booked it, didn't notify anybody because...
Well, that was quick, from the 6th to the 15th. You didn't...
Yeah. Well, it was a 2-year journey, so we knew that as soon as these visas come through, we are going. You know, we have to go. There's no way. Your boss has been waiting for almost 2 years now. Do you think he's going to wait another 2 months for you? No.
Yeah, I get it.
So we booked the tickets and we broke the news. Like everybody's like up in arms, nervous, like, but you guys can't go now. We got to do a farewell. And I'm like, you guys could have done a farewell 2 years ago for us. You know, in the time I did pick up and I noticed, and I always said to my husband that when things were good, like back home, I always had people home, you know. And I think when they started understanding, because people would ask about your journey, like how far are you? And because I'm an open book, you know, I will tell you as it is. It cost me $500,000 to do this and $50 to do that and 2 years to wait for this. I'm very open, and a lot of people contact me privately as well, asking me about this journey and what it costs and how are you coping and what do you pay in hours. And I can give you detail, you know, I can give you all the truth and nothing but the truth. That's just me. So the family started looking in and automatically creating their own stories, which was a good thing for me in disguise because they started pulling away from us. Obviously, 2 people not working in the home.
Yeah.
You understand? And my home was always open, that I never asked anybody to bring anything. If you want to have your drink, you bring your drink because you know what you're drinking. But food-wise, entertainment, my home was always open for all the years. And then as soon as both of us were unemployed in the home, we started seeing family and friends pulling away. But it was a good thing, as I said, because it prepared us as a family of 4 to come into a foreign country being alone.
Mm.
So they actually did us a favor indirectly. It was a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we booked our flights the 15th. They had a little farewell at home. Said goodbye to everybody. Those that wanted to attend, attended. Those that didn't want to attend, didn't come. And my parents dropped us at the airport at 4 a.m. in the morning. We had a flight to Johannesburg. I think it was a 3-hour layover. Spent time there with my brother and his wife. They took some time off work. Had the last spur breakfast in SA. And then it was time to jump onto that plane and make our way here.
With suitcases in tow?
I'll be honest with you, when I read lots of people speaking about, oh, we need to have this, and how much do you need to have that, or what money, or whatever, you know, we were a family of 4 that jumped onto a plane with our 4 suitcases and about $2,000 in our pockets, not knowing where we're going, but we knew we're going. We landed at Melbourne Airport in the evening. my son, my aunt, and her husband would pick us up in Melbourne. We get through our security gates or whatever you call them, and it was a change. It was a shock that we landed here, you know. Up until now, as I speak with you, it's still, we still can't believe we're here. We are here. But nevertheless, we get through customs and they call my husband out. They scan my passport, the kid's passport through, and we followed my husband. And when he gets through, they said, we need to chat with you, into like border control, took him in. And I'm like, oh my hat, you know, for the last couple of years, we've been watching border control in SA and we knew we were going to avoid all this, but nevertheless, they called him in.
Wow.
Anyway, oh, all clear, Mr. Smith, you can carry on. So we moved on, get to the carousel, get our suitcases, and then we enter, see our family. And that's the video that I've sent out to you. So we get to Melbourne, to Victoria, Melbourne, Pakenham. That's where we were going to live for a couple of days until we adjusted to the timing. And then my husband needed to apply for his TFN, is it that tax file number, before he got onto coming into NSW. And they picked up that he was in Australia, but he was still in South Africa. So we tried to do a bit of an investigation and we were backtracking the day we got off the flight and customs called him. So customs didn't scan him into the country on his passport.
Wow.
So a couple of days they rectified that, and then he had to make his way up because his company wants him. I think it's about a 9-hour drive from Victoria to New South Wales Parks. Thankfully, we had a vehicle that was loaned to us by a family member. So he jumped in, we brought him up, looked for a rental, couldn't find anything, eventually got him into a caravan park. And he was there for about a week. I went back to Melbourne with the kids.
So you only drove him up and then immediately came back?
Yeah, we spent a few days with him. We drove up, we spent a few days at the caravan park, just trying to find our way, looking for a rental. What are we going to do? Where are we going to go? It's a family of 4. But by then, we had to just book him into the caravan park. And I thought, okay, in these 2 days, maybe I could secure something, you know. My mom's sister was with me. Maybe we could secure a rental. First rental we applied for in the 2 days. I got an email, declined. Like my whole life was shattered because I got to leave my husband in a foreign country or in a foreign city, province, whatever you call it. And I got to head back with my 2 kids that were doing exceptionally well at school. I had to pull them out of school, bring them here. So my main focus was getting the girls back into a school as soon as possible. Anyway, I got back to Melbourne to find out that I had contracted COVID. I had a case of COVID, so I was bedbound for 7 days here in Oz. And my husband was here in the caravan park. He stayed for a week, and then the second rental came up, and the agent contacted me from Ray White's. She said, there is a place available. Would your husband be able to look at it? And I'm like, yeah, I'm sure he could. Came in, left his job in his break, went out, had a look at the place, took some pictures, and I'm like, please ensure that the bedrooms do have cupboards, like bedroom cupboards. That's the only thing I need because the previous house that was declined didn't have wardrobe space. So he says, oh, it's a beautiful home. I'm taking it. Like, okay, you can make that decision, seeing that I'm not sure. As long as there's 3 bedrooms, we're good to go. That's perfect. He secured it, and we sent the application through, and everything in Oz is done online. Everything is online, and it's kind of scary, you know. We didn't do it online.
See and feel
Back
it.
home. Hey?
Because you can't see and feel it. It's
Yeah,
it's almost not real. It doesn't feel real.
And it was a lot of paperwork involved, like online. Like, if I needed a job back in SA, I would go for an interview, sign the documents, and boom, I'm done, you know. Yeah, everything is online. So we're trying to find our feature. But he secured the rental the Easter weekend this year. And then I had to get well now with the COVID and stuff. So eventually he says, okay, I'm coming down the long weekend. I'm picking you guys up. Get ready. We're moving. Okay, we're moving. No worries. But in the 2 years that everybody in Melbourne knew or Victoria knew that we're immigrating, my aunt's got a good group of friends, like South Africans. And we ended up with a household full of furniture.
Wow.
You know, it was such a sad thing just leaving your furniture back in SA. The home is left there. We managed to get tenants in now for the last 2 months, which is a good thing because the parents are still on the property. But just like leaving your stuff that you work for, because people wanted to pay us for furniture back home. And I'm like, I'm going to end up spending your money. And then if anything happens, I'm afraid to, how do I pay you back? So let's keep the furniture as is. As soon as my visa's approved, I'll contact you. You deposit, you pick up, and you go on. And that was the agreement. But when the visa came through on the 6th of March, who's got money on the 6th of March? People have money till month end in SA. So yeah, we hired a trailer in Melbourne. We towed it to the car, put everything on the trailer, fit it, nice big trailer, and we get to Parks.
How far? 9 hours, you said?
It's a 9-hour drive, yeah.
Wow.
So we got here, settled in on the weekend, took a trip to Coles, looking for food. I'm like, oh, okay, what do we eat? Okay, let's do the basics. So we did a bit of shopping. I had my aunt and her husband here for the weekend. They left Monday. Now there's no family. Now there's no friends. It's time to live life. You got to do what you got to do, Bernadette, and you got to do it properly, but you got to do it quickly as well. Anyway, husband's on his own. He's at the company. He's happy. He's got to be happy because he's the visa holder. For whatever reason, like he comes back up until 9. I'm like, how was work? Are you good? Are you enjoying it? And he's like, why do you ask me these questions every day? And I'm like, I got to make sure that you're happy because I ain't going home. And there was a very good lady up until now. I haven't met her because every time she's available, I'm not. But she's one of the ladies that belong to the council in Parks. And she put me in a lot of direction or in a pathway regarding the kids' schooling. And, you know, I didn't realize that within Parks or within New South Wales, you got to be schooled in your zone. Back home, we also had that, but there were ways to bypass it because the schools in our zone were just government schools that were not the best of schools for the kids, you know. So getting here, it was quite a process. I had to put them into schools that were zoned. They're about 3 kilometers from me, and hubby's about 5 k's from home. Little town, beautiful place. We've settled in very well. Kids attended school. They had a bit of hiccups here and there. And I sat with them and I said, you know, because of the school, you are zoned in the area. I'm looking at putting you guys into the Catholic school for January 2024. And this was about after 2 months of a bit of hiccups in the school. And they both said no. And I'm like, no, I'm going to put you guys in, you know, because I did my homework on fees and costs, and it's quite close. We're a little town. And I said, what are the reasons that you guys would not want to go back to like a Model C school back home? And they, no, we are not making friends like we had to make friends again when we left SA. And I'm like, oh, okay.
They were very happy.
They're both content. And it costs me nothing because on the visa that we're on, we don't have fees to pay.
Yeah. The public schools in Australia are good.
Well, they are good, you know. I wouldn't put my kid back home. The 3 of them have never been to a public school in SA. We had to do what we needed to do to ensure that we gave them the best possible education. And yeah, it's just so different. It's just so different.
How old are your daughters?
Sky is 8. Amber's 12. There's a 4-year difference, like a gap, but they're happy as long as they're happy. Hubby's happy. I'll find my happiness because I had to do it all alone any which way. So yeah,
And
that
you,
is a
and
little
you got
journey.
a job, you decided to start working as well?
To be honest with you, I have many jobs. This is funny, you know, my husband says to me, you're gonna burn yourself out. And I'm like, nah, I can't burn myself out because it's so much calmer here, you know. I work for April, we moved in here. The kids are at school. First day was okay, second day was okay. Then we managed to utilize the school bus, picks them up like 4 houses away from us. They were happy to utilize the bus. We had 1 vehicle. Hubby goes to work, I'm at home. I'll take my little walk down to the park to look around and see what I could see. I'm like, I can't do this. I've never sat at home in SA all my life. I don't think I'm going to do it, sure. So I went onto the Facebook page with the parks community notice board, and I see there's a position or a vacancy. They're looking for a housekeeper for a motel. So I thought, okay, let's see. I don't know anything, you know. My mind was, I will do anything that I need to do. Whatever comes, I'm going to grab it with open arms and continue my journey. So I sent my resume through, and I didn't realize I was sending her my South African number on the resume.
Oh.
So she emailed me and she says, Bernadette, this is a story. I can't get a hold of you, but if you could come see me. So I quickly Googled. Well, Google is my name here. I never used Google back home, maps or anything. Now I'm using Google. So I Googled this motor inn, and I see it's literally 5 minutes walk down my road. Oh, okay. So I went in for the interview and she chatted and she's like, do you have any housekeeping experience? And I'm like, I don't have any qualifications, but I mean, I've been manning my home for the last 20 years. I'm sure that should contribute. And she smiled. She actually laughed at me, and I'm like, yeah, that's what I've done. You know, I'm willing to learn. And she said, okay, that's fine. So she took me through the motel and she says, this is what we do. And anyway, I started work a couple of days later. And one thing I can say about Australia is that they really focus around your kids, you know. She did ask me what would work for you. And I said to her, the kids leave 9 o'clock, I'm available. I need to be home before they get home or before I got to pick them up. So she said, perfect. Like you'd spend like 2-3 hours at the motel, and that's what we give you. If there's anything extra, I do it, but I ensure that I'm always home by 3. So I'm with them for a good couple of months from April. It's kind of tiring and hard in the beginning, but you know what? You do it, because when my first pay went into my bank account, I'm like, wow, I'm earning my own dollar. You know, it was exciting. And I worked with them for a couple of months, and I just kept on sending out my resume. But I said to my husband that I'm not going to go into anything full-time now. I could go into retail management with Aldi's. I did apply with Aldi's a couple of months ago. They were looking for an assistant store manager. And with that goes with long hours, but early mornings, late nights. And I applied. They did the telephonic interview, good 30 to 45 minutes. It sounded so good. But about 2 days after that, I said to my husband, I think I've made the worst mistake of actually applying for this job. And he's like, why? I said, I'm not prepared to leave the kids like this, you know. They're going to get up and sort themselves out. Sky's only 8. Emma's 12. They're in a foreign country. I need them to adjust. I need them to be settled. I need them to be happy. And for me, chasing out dollars now for a permanent salary, I don't think I can. He said, so what are you going to tell them? I said, I'm going to be very open and honest with them when they do call. And 2 days later, I got an email to say that my application was not successful, but they'll keep me on the database. And I'm like, thank you, Lord. That's the answer I needed, you know. So I worked my motel, and then I got into a company online. I do mystery shopping in parks. I used to just grab the jobs in parks because of the area, so I wouldn't like actually make an appointment or schedule my time. I'll do it in the kids' time, like when I pick them up, or if I'm running to Coles for bread and milk, I'll pop into the store and ask a few questions as mystery shoppers do. And money was coming into my bank account on a regular basis. And then I started learning parks and learning the Google Maps. So I started taking out trips at 100 Ks that pay a little bit more, cover the fuel, but my time as well. And it was more of an adventure for us, you know. And then in July, the 27th of July, I sent my resume out to Nestle. They call it Nestle here, and I still laugh about it with my territory manager.
Nestle.
So, Nestle, yeah, you get Cadbury and you get Nestle. So I do a lot of marketing for them. I work on a Tuesday and a Wednesday with them from 9 till 3. Well, it's got to be till 3 because I got to pick up the kids and then pick up hubby because we have one vehicle for now. So I do marketing, merchandising, planograms. I do quite a bit of work for them, 4 hours a day. Tuesday and Wednesday, they pay me my kilometers. I get a nice weekly wage from them. So I have different sources of income coming in with the mystery shopping, the motel, with Nestle. And then I joined the FM Australia. It's a perfume business. I had an online store back home for about 7 months. And I was planning on closing my Facebook page now with my business account because I just couldn't afford to bring that stock up to try and market it in Australia because it would not be feasible. And I think it was DHL that was costing us an arm and a leg. It just was not worth doing it. So I was going to close it. And then I managed to find a company that actually does the same business that I did back home. So I've got that running now.
Wow.
So
That business called?
it's just it's just many, how do you put this? I can't get the word that I need to use, but I have little jobs that just drop in my bank account, if that makes sense.
No, but for the online shop that you have, I want to help you out. So if we can send you some people to go and have a look at your online store.
Okay, so I have the FM Australia online store. My Facebook page is Queen Bee. That was created last year when I had the online store in SA. So I've just transferred and moved everything over. There's quite a bit of advertising that I still need to do on there, but on a daily basis, I'm learning. And that's my online little perfume store. I'm very happy with it because what I did back home, I know I'll be able to do here. By the way, that cash that I made on a weekly basis back home really helped a hell of a lot. It did. I have with Nestle, it's just a week-to-week base. I'm very happy with them. I do quite a bit of traveling with them. It's also an experience for me because it's teaching me to go out into the country stores alone. My territory manager, he's happy to have me on board. I'm happy to be within the company. And I was just saying to my husband the other day that I'm happy doing what I'm doing. I'm flexible. I don't want to be tied down into a company where I got to be there 8 to 5. No, I want to be home by 3:30 latest every day. Dinner gets cooked in the course of the day while I'm here. Kids get home at 3:30, 3:45. They don't have to have a snack after school because they can have dinner at 4 o'clock, you know. Times have really changed here. It's much calmer for us, much safer for us. The dollar goes further than the rand, I would say. Hubby does what he does. He does the base, well, I wouldn't call it the basics, everything in the home, you know, like all the finances, car, insurance, he does it. And I said to him, everything that I make is for us, for our holidays, for the extras, you know, and it's going well. I don't know what else to say. I really don't know what else to say.
Where are you in a space emotionally here in Australia versus where you were in South Africa?
I'm content. I'm in a very peaceful space now. Absolutely peaceful. My mind is still home, my dad, my mom, my siblings. But here I had to change. My mind had to change because now it's just about myself, my husband, and the kids. You know, each person, including my parents, and I said to her, I said, you guys had many opportunities back then in your day. Now it's my time and it's my kids' time, you know. We will see you guys. You guys will visit, you will come up, we will come down. But for now, this is our new life. And this is what we need to go with, you know. So I'm not so feeling emotional because of what I left back home. No, I've come to terms that it's about me, the kids, and my husband now, and that's how life is.
And how long do you
So,
have to be on your visa before you can apply for citizenship? Do you know?
it's 3 years. We've got 2.5 years left. 6 months down.
What a journey, Bernadette. Wow. So you say your husband is happy with what he's doing and enjoying Australia?
He's so happy. Oh, he's so happy. It took him quite a bit or a long time. It's just a good couple of weeks, maybe 2 weeks back, that he's like, I'm happy in my company. You know, he's one that doesn't speak much, you know. They do have supervisors, and in his previous company, he was part of management. So he started all at the bottom again, if that makes sense. And his supervisor says to him the other day, oh, you kind of hands-on, you like know a lot. And he still didn't let the cat out the bag of what he did back in SA. You know, what he's doing now is like he done many years back home. So it's not new to him, but he's happy. He can admit that he's happy. He's fitting in. He's more comfortable at work now. So yeah, he's happy. Kids are happy. I'm happy. We happy. So that's just I don't know how to explain the excitement. It's still unbelievable that we here.
It's an incredible journey. As I said to you, I've been following along because you have been extremely active on Facebook. And as you say, you've always been an open book. So it was easy for anybody reading your posts to pretty much have a good idea of, I mean, not the details, but, you know, an idea of that you've been struggling with your process, but you just persisted and you kept going back and kept trying. And I remember reading your post thinking, you're still not in Australia. It's been how long? You guys are still, but you haven't given up. And that's the amazing thing about you, Bernadette. I have to really give you the credit when it's due, that if your job, your bosses, your many bosses that you now have, if they don't know anything about you, they will very quickly learn that you can persevere and that you will get something done if you put your head to it. So that's just really a great testament to yourself. And your daughters will be so thankful to you one day when they're a little bit older and they start understanding what it is that mom and dad had to go through to be able to bring them to this amazing country.
Yeah.
I know it's been really hard, but would you do it again if you had to?
Yes, definitely. I would. I always say, if I knew what I know now 20 years back, my kids would have been born in Australia. You know, I would do it in a heartbeat. It was, I always say to my husband as well that we were like the guinea pigs in this whole process, because we've got about 5 family members now that are planning on coming or starting the process. And as I said, you lose a lot and you gain. I've gained quite a few friends here. Lots of help here, you know. About 3 weeks back, I just started with Nestle, and I got like very emotional because my little one was sick. And I know back home I could call family friend, mom, dad, sister, aunt, uncle, please help me. I need to be at work. And I got up and I said to the older one, I said, please I have to be at work. Please stay at home with Sky, because she's 12. In the States, she can stay at home with her younger sister. And she says, okay, I'll do it, but only for today. Are you going to get me this? We were like bribing each other, but I knew I had to be at work. You know, I just started the job. And then I get to on the road, and the territory manager met me, and he says, what happened? Like, you don't seem you. And I'm like, my HO's not well. And he's like, why did you come to work? And I'm like, we've got adverts that are breaking. I've got work scheduled for that day. I can't just, you know. And he's like, no. You should have messaged me. I would have covered for you in that store. And he's like an hour away from me, you know. So, yeah, it has been a hard one. But you know what? I've got the 12-year-old that's here. I've got a company that understands that if you have kids, you've got kids, you know. They do get sick. We all get sick. Everything is just so different here versus back home. I don't even know how to begin, you know. On my WhatsApp statuses, a lot of people have blocked me. And I understand why. I had to put a post out there on my WhatsApp, not on Facebook, just to mention and notify my family and my friends that whatever pictures I put up, it's little things that we have achieved, but we haven't put half up because I've noticed so much of jealousy going on. I only do this to motivate the person that's looking at this post, because these are the guys that are inquiring from me about moving up to us. How are you coping? How are you managing? And I said to them, the statuses I put out there is not to show off, basically, or to throw it in people's faces that this is what we have. No, it's for you, your open mind, to say, hey, it is possible. It's possible, you know.
Yeah.
A friend of mine called me a couple of weeks back, and she wanted to know, like, how are you guys managing and coping financially? I mean, we came up with nothing, absolutely nothing, you know. And I said to her, I said, you know, life is good, you know, if your bills are paid, your children are sorted, your cupboards are full, and you still have some dollars in your bank account till the next payday, life is good. And she couldn't understand what I was saying. And I said, well, come visit, come see. You come and see. You got to experience to understand what I'm saying to you guys. And yeah,
Amazing.
that's the little journey. I stopped posting a lot of stuff on my statuses because not everybody's mind is my way of thinking.
Yeah.
There's 2 family members that I definitely do want. I have the third one that's busy with a student visa. She's busy. She's going to leave her family back home and sacrifice, do what she needs to do. At least we are able to sponsor her on our visa. And when family members say, can you sponsor? And I'm like, financially, no. But a place to stay, a roof over your head, and a plate of food, I have no issue. Everything else you guys got to do financially for yourself, you know. But we can help and give you a kickstart because we've been helped along the journey as well by family members in Australia. And yeah, that's the little journey. It's just going to get a little better now, eh?
Absolutely. It can just look forward and upwards. And
Yeah.
I am so glad for you guys, and well done, Bernadette, for doing what you said for your family. I'm just so glad I finally have you on the show to talk about this. It's been coming for
Wow, I always said when I watched your Facebook and your blogs, and I'm like, no, I'm going to be on one of these little shows soon.
Thanks
Amazing
again.
one. It's been an amazing one with you guys, you know, just listening to everybody's little journey. Everybody's journey is different. And in closing, I just want to say that as long as you know exactly what you want to do, it is possible. It is possible. It's not going to be easy. You can have many millions or many $1,000s in your bank account. It does not mean that you would get here. You know, you can have all the money, The whole process is daunting, but at the end of it, as I say, through this darkest tunnel, through the last 3 or 4 years of our lives, there is a bright light, and that's the bright light that we are now experiencing. And I just said to my kids, there's only 5 of us in Australia, the 3 kids, my husband and myself. We don't have any family members or friends that you have got now that are close to us where we can invite for birthday parties and stuff. So we will be doing 5 little holidays each year. And the first one now starts in December. We've booked accommodation for the beach. Funny enough, we were 20 minutes drive from the beach in SA. Now we're 4 hours drive away. So we have booked accommodation for Coogee Beach. I think it's in Sydney. We booked a resort to stay on there for the week, from the 22nd of December till the 27th. That will be like celebrating Christmas and my daughter's 13th birthday at the end of November. And then that's it. So that's how life is going to be spent. I said, do you guys want to be on the beach Christmas Day having pizzas and burgers? There's no more cooked meals, big pots of food and roast. And no, we're happy to be on the beach, Mum. So it's booked. We're ready to go. That would be our first little trip out.
Oh, well, I'm looking forward to seeing photos of that trip that you can share with us and everybody who's following your journey, who's been watching the viewers today. We'll post it in the Facebook group. And yeah, again, thank you so much for sharing your story, Bernadette. It's been absolutely amazing to hear about the grits and the perseverance and the dream that you followed and made it happen.
Yeah, it's been a absolute honor to actually do this. You know, I just trust it gets out and everybody that listens to it, especially my family. I could recruit the whole family to come here. But you know what? It's an individual choice. We all make choices in life. I can't want it as badly, you know, for you. You got to want it. And yes, I can advise you the trip, the journey, the cost, whatever else you need to know. I can provide you with roof, but you're going to want it more than me. I'd love to have my family here just to understand or experience what we're going to do in these 5 or 6 months that we're here. And I'm so grateful.
Awesome.
I'm so grateful.
Really appreciate it. We'll talk again soon. And remember to send us those photos.
Yes, I will. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Bernie. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.